And we are back now at 7:42. A young American, Eric Volz, was convicted in a Nicaraguan court of murdering his former girlfriend, despite overwhelming evidence of his innocence. After a bitter battle, he is now out of jail, and we're going to talk with him in a moment. But first, NBC's Kerry Sanders takes a look at how he was finally set free.
In just a few moments, Eric Volz would be released from custody. The American spent more than a year in a Nicaraguan prison, sentenced 30 years for killing his ex-girlfriend, Doris Jimenez. From the beginning, Volz argued he was innocent. Eventually, an appeals court there cleared him of any involvement, and he was finally free to go home. Minutes later, the 28-year-old was on a single-engine plane to freedom.
It was a nightmare. Prison down there was like, you know, the waiting room to hell.
Eric's mother, Maggie Anthony from Nashville, fought tirelessly for her son's freedom.
Oh my gosh!
394 days after he was jailed, son and mom were finally back together on U.S. soil.
I don't know if you really can truly appreciate your freedom until you've had to fight for it. I feel really fortunate to have, you know, an amazing mother and amazing family that really stepped up and you know, went the distance.
If it wasn't for her, do you think you would have gotten out?
Nope. No way. She saved my life.
The aggressive Nicaraguan media called Volz the gringo murderer. They were in full pursuit as he left Managua. Now the appeals court judges who ordered Volz's release face their own problems. Investigators are looking into allegations the judges were paid off.
I know my job is in jeopardy, my life is in jeopardy. I'm doing this because I couldn't live with my conscience.
I commend them for upholding the law and for sticking to what they believe is true and correct.
Eric Volz says he still fears for his life, doesn't want anybody to know where he's living because he believes someone from Nicaragua may come here and try to kill him. Yet he also says someday he wants to go back.
I have faith that someday I'll be able to return to Nicaragua and enjoy the place that I love so much.
Okay, Mom, are you going to allow it?
No comment.
For today, Kerry Sanders, NBC News.
And Eric Volz is here with his mother, Maggie Anthony, who finally has reason to smile. Welcome to both of you. Eric's pleasure to meet you. We've spent a lot of time over the past year talking with your mom about you and getting you out of prison. How are you feeling?
You know, it's been a struggle re-entering the free world. It's actually a lot harder than one would think. But every day I feel better. Physically, I feel stronger. And, you know, I feel lighter every day. It's going well.
Well, you were quite ill, actually, when you were in prison, and you referred to it in that tape piece as gateway to hell. What were the conditions like? You
know, prison destroys you. It just chips at you a little bit at a time, and you know, I saw people die in prison from, you know, lack of medical attention or simple neglect. And you know, unfortunately, the Nicaraguan judicial system doesn't have the resources to really be able to provide the proper conditions.
Did you fear for your life when you were in prison?
Oh yeah, prison is deadly. It's very dangerous.
So I was watching your face when you're on that plane leaving, finally leaving Nicaragua. What was going through your head? You're finally out after more than a year in prison.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a surreal moment. You know, I really couldn't believe that it was happening. And, you know, I still can't believe that I'm not there. It's surreal. I
want to point out to the audience that you really weren't freed from prison. You were illegally deported, and that is a distinction. Was that on the orders of the president of Nicaragua that you were illegally deported, and why was that done?
Yeah, I was illegally deported, and now I'm being tried in my absence. The deportation was ordered by the executive branch of the government, and, you know, they essentially just had to get me out of their hair, get me out of the country because my case was becoming too big and their lie was being exposed. Well,
there were people outside of prison that referred to you from the beginning as gringo and wanted you dead, essentially.
Yeah, they really played up the mob mentality and, you know, really kind of opened old wounds, you know, of the controversial history between the United States and Nicaragua. And that's, you know, why it really consolidated me as a political prisoner. And, you know, that was why it was so hard for me to get out. Is that why you're now afraid, even though you're back on U.S. soil? Well, the case has become extremely political. I mean, the Nicaraguan courts are faced with a serious problem. They held a man in jail for over a year. But now I've been declared innocent, which acknowledges that serious mistakes were made and that over a year of a man's life was stolen.
Well, why do you think that the government or the authorities would want to pin this murder on you?
Well, believe it or not, it's because they knew I was innocent, and there was so much support behind me. It almost created value for me. You know, it gave me, made me a prisoner of value to them.
I'm not sure I understand what you mean.
Okay, you know, it's almost it's a way to create diplomatic tension, so that you can bargain other bilateral negotiations that might be pending.
Did you, at any time when you were in prison or during the time you were in prison, did you know how hard your mom was working for your release?
You know, I love my mom, she loves me, that's never been a question. But not until now I'm free and I'm able to hear the stories from friends and other family, I wasn't really aware of the magnitude of the release effort that was happening on my behalf.
Maggie, what do you think it was that resulted in Eric finally being released? I know the day before he was released, Condoleezza Rice had spoken out publicly about this. Do you think that was what turned the situation around?
I think that definitely really helped turn the tide, but there were so many different things coming together as we're kind of debriefing on all the different efforts of different people. It's everything. It was Condoleezza, it was me going down there, it was just realizing that Eric was truly innocent, it was the Judge Rodriguez speaking out in his own defense and saying this man is innocent. So it was just a combination of all these things coming together.
You know, there is another man who was convicted along with you, a Nicaraguan, who is still in prison for the same crime, for murdering Doris. Do you believe he is the one who did it? What do you think happened to your former girlfriend?
The man that's currently in jail participated in Doris's murder, but there are still others, that the main perpetrator and other people that have yet to be brought to justice.
And you believe you know who they are?
Yes, we do know who they are.
So why aren't they being brought to justice if you know who they are?
Well, at this point, it's up to the Nicaraguan authorities. You know, it's not our not our job as a civilian family to you know, it's not our we don't authorized to do that.
You know what I find amazing, Eric, that you say you might want to go back to Nicaragua again.
Well, you know, there's a lot of good people there. It's a beautiful country. It's you know, there's a lot of people that are working very hard to achieve a prosperous and democratic Nicaragua, and we have a lot of great friends. Yeah, I'm not, you know, I have no resentment toward Nicaraguan people. I was arrested and held as a, you know, captive by a very specific group of people.
You know, Maggie, you said to me you've been waiting a long time for this moment, and so glad we could share it with both of you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure to meet you,
Thank you.
Maggie.
Thanks.
Great to see you as always. Thank you both. And we'll be right back after this.